That's going to be the headline there. It's going to be Micah Parsons and the Cowboys agree to a massive contract extension, and both sides are going to walk away like after the contract negotiation. Micah Parsons is going to have the deal, and both sides are going to live happily ever after. The Cowboys are not trading Micah Parsons. I just don't think that's going to happen. It's not happening. Jerry Jones even came out and said, Cowboys fans, do not lose sleep over this trade request. And here's the thing. I do have to hold Micah Parsons accountable for something, because I actually don't think that he's done a good enough job during this negotiation period with taking advantage of the leverage that he has. So he requested a trade the other day, but after he requested a trade, the very next day he was at practice. If he was trying to make it so that it looks like it was serious that he was actually requesting a trade, he should have left Dallas. He never should have showed up to practice. And yeah, so far, if he were to miss training camp, he would incur $50,000 fines per practice. But once the negotiation is over and they agree to a deal, all of that stuff is going to get reimbursed to him anyway. So he's not taking advantage of the leverage that he has. And that trade request, I just don't think has been taken seriously by the Jones family. I think that Micah Parsons wants to be a Cowboy. The Jones family wants Micah Parsons to be a Cowboy. And I think that this is all just negotiation tactics from both sides. But I will say this, there is real tension between both the Cowboys and Micah Parsons. And the reason why I say that is because there was a deal that was negotiated between Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones back there in March during a meeting that was supposed to be for leadership about Micah Parsons, that he needs to be more of a leader. Now, this is another thing that I have to hold Micah Parsons accountable for. Once he heard anything about negotiations, he should have stopped the meeting right there and said, hey, we're not negotiating without my agent in this room. If you want to start talking about contracts and numbers and anything of the such, you have to make sure that my agent is in the room, or we're not talking about numbers. So that is something that I do want to hold Micah Parsons accountable for there. But we know how this is going to end. The Cowboys are going to end up signing Micah Parsons to the biggest contract that a defensive player has ever seen. And it's going to happen probably in about 2 to 4 weeks from now. And come September 4th in Philadelphia, Micah Parsons will be in a Cowboys uniform playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what this is leading to. And this is all the game that the Jones family plays. Every single year, it feels like there's a contract negotiation with the Cowboys. In 2023, it was Zach Martin. In 2024, it was CeeDee Lamb. The Dak Prescott contract negotiations, they weren't as tumultuous as the CeeDee Lamb one and the Micah Parsons one, because Dak Prescott did show up to camp. So yeah, it was a big storyline, and it definitely did, dominate the headlines here. But we all know where this is going. Where this is going is Micah Parsons is going to get signed to a big contract, and the Jones family is okay with signing him to that contract, because over these past few weeks here, every show has been dominated by the Cowboys. First Take, The Herd, Get Up, all these shows are talking about the Cowboys. They are making money from the fact that people are talking about them and saying a lot of things in the media about this team. That's what's happening there. And this is the playbook that they're going to continue to go with when it comes to negotiations, because at the end of the day, they're fine with it because people are talking about them. They're making more money. And at the end of the day, the Cowboys are going to remain in the headlines. They are the number one brand in sports. And Jerry Jones knows that. And he understands that ultimately that's going to be the headline there. It's going to be Micah Parsons and the Cowboys agree to a massive contract extension, and both sides are going to walk away like after the contract negotiation. Micah Parsons is going to have the deal, and both sides are going to live happily ever after. And Micah Parsons will continue to be, a Dallas Cowboy. And I do want to go over one thing when it comes to Micah Parsons and how valuable he is to the Dallas Cowboys. Bill Barnwell came out with a tweet. Over the last 4 years, the Cowboys are the league's best defense with Micah Parsons on the field by EPA per play. Across 1,039 play sample, they're the league's second worst defense over the same stretch by EPA per play when Parsons isn't on the field. You can make a case that Parsons is the most valuable defender in football. Did you know that the Cowboys last year were top 3 in the league in sacks? Who did they have outside of Micah Parsons that you look at as a premier pass rusher? They didn't have anybody outside of Micah Parsons as a premier pass rusher. Because of the way offensive lines shift protections towards Micah Parsons, if you have a creative defensive coordinator who can complement the fact that you have an elite edge rusher in Parsons, and they can come up with blitz packages off of that, you're going to be able to have a very effective pass rush. And obviously, we saw that the Cowboys were able to do that. And, I think Micah Parsons as a run defender has actually improved big time over the course of his career. And, look, if the Cowboys want to contend this year and want to make a run here, they're going to need Micah Parsons on the field for them and suited up. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. So,